CD versus vinyl. Don't worry, you've clicked on the right video. Hey everybody, this is TJR, and if this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. If not, welcome back. Over the years on YouTube, I have come across videos that have one of the following titles. Either it's called Albums That Everybody Loves That I Hate, or Albums That Everybody Hates That I Love. And I might do one of these videos someday, but I bring up this fact because the album I'm discussing today, which is Days of Future Past by the Moody Blues, is not an album that I hate, but it's also not an album that I have really felt a huge love for. Now, don't get me wrong, I really do love the song Nights in White Satin. I've always thought it was a masterpiece. But I've never really fallen in love with the album. And I first bought a copy of it on CD back in the late 90s. So here's my CD version. Hey, let it go. Thank you. Anyways, I got this back in the 90s. I've had it just forever now. And as you can see, this is one of those BMG Club issues. Of course, back in the day, I did both the BMG Club, did the Columbia Club, so that I could get a whole bunch of albums for not a whole lot of money. And of course, that's if you played your cards right. I should talk about that someday. But if you look at this here, you can see when you pull the CD out, there's a listing there. You see all the images of all their other albums here. And this is because this was obviously part of a remastered series back then. This was the late 90s when I got this, of their catalog. And this version came with a special insert that was unique to this version here, in that it had, of course, these images here, but also had this exclusive interview with the band members talking about the album here. So that was unique to this version here. After hearing the album for the first time, I have to admit I felt kind of indifferent to most of it. But of course, every couple of years, I would revisit the album and see if maybe my opinion hadn't changed, see if it didn't sound different to my ears. Now, recently, a similar experience with another album made me think that perhaps my real problem with this album was that, for whatever reason, this copy that I own on CD just simply wasn't a good sounding CD. I've had this happen in the past. So I decided that next time I came across a vintage vinyl copy, I would try to pick it up, give it a listen, and compare it. So I found this copy at Amoeba Music in LA the other day. And so here's the vintage copy that I picked up at Amoeba Records in Los Angeles. And here's, of course, the record here, Darum Records label. This was, I guess, what do you call it, a subsidiary of Decca, from what I've read about this. DES 18012, I'm pretty sure this is first pressing or close to it, I guess. And let's go ahead and just pull this out here real quick. Take a quick look here. There we go. There's the front cover. There's the back cover. And, and I got to show you the sleeve. These sleeves are great. I love looking at these old sleeves where you can see the different records that they had out at the time, the different albums. There it is. Now, you may have noticed that I haven't done a CD versus vinyl in a while because I felt like too often the results were the same. But I'm doing this one because I felt that the results were quite unique. So I listened to the album from start to finish, and all the while I sat and read the lyrics off the internet since the lyrics were not included with the actual album. I have to admit it was like hearing it for the first time. Even with some small amount of snap and crackle on the LP, I felt a stronger emotional connection during this listen. Then I did an A to B comparison to the CD. Honestly, I was expecting the CD to sound thin or perhaps too overcompressed. But to my surprise, the CD offered a surprising amount of clarity that the LP just simply didn't have. Honestly, I was knocked out by the level of audio detail that I could hear in the CD versus the LP. I was taken aback by this. On a purely technical level, the CD was the clear winner. Yet, all these years, I didn't really connect to the CD version. So I asked my partner to listen to side 2 again with me, and she agreed. I did an A to B back to back on each track, and she agreed that the CD offered more audio detail and that the LP honestly sounded a bit murky by comparison. So I kept asking, why did I connect more emotion to the LP? And as we were A-Bing back and forth Nights in White Satin, my partner then said that while the CD offered more clarity, the LP sounded more haunting. And then it hit me. I remembered while discussing the remix of Animals by Pink Floyd, one of this channel's viewers, James Wilson, said that while he agreed that the new remix of Animals offered more audio detail, he also felt that the original mix had more of a sense of menace to it. I think those were the words he used, but James, if I'm wrong, correct me. And that the murkiness was part of the emotional appeal of the album. Now, I have to be honest, I experienced something similar to this with the Beatles remix of Sgt. Pepper on vinyl versus the remix on CD. A Day in the Life, the orchestra swell offered too much detail on the CD, and it took away some of the audio magic of the original experience. It was one of the few things that I didn't appreciate about the 2014 remix, whereas the LP version of the remix gave a little less detail, and I felt some of that magic from the original mix was retained better this way. I also did a bit more research afterwards and came across the following. In July of 1978, it was discovered that the UK master tapes for Days of Future Past had deteriorated. As a result of this, the album was remixed in its entirety in August 1978, which was used for reissues between 1978 and 2017. I have also read that there were later remixes after 1978. By the way, please comment and share, though, if you feel you believe you know different in regards to this. In 2017, the original mix was remastered. Due to the poor quality of the original master tape, though, this remaster was apparently created by importing a really nice copy of the original LP to digital. From there, I'm guessing they cleaned up any potential or unwanted clicks or noise, and then from there, digitally remastered it. Bear in mind that I am not a really huge Moody Blues fan. This has been the only album by them that I have ever really bothered to add to my collection. So please, to you bigger fans out there, offer any corrections you believe to be true in regards to the comments that I'm making right now. Now, later that night, while exercising, I listened to the album on Tidal Streaming. Their version was the 2017 remastering of the original mix. It sounded like my LP. It did not sound like my CD. And I enjoyed hearing it on streaming a great deal for this reason. The following day, I listened to the original mix again, and I liked it even more. I digitally imported the LP to my music, and while listening in the car, I said again to my partner that I always intellectually understood that this album was a classic, but that now I emotionally understand why it's a classic. To sum up, the difference between the original LP mix and the remix on CD is the difference between a realistic photograph and an impressionistic painting. The remix on the CD offers more clarity, while the LP is more pastoral of an experience. But with all this said, I think that moving forward, as this album grows with me, I will begin to appreciate more the detail offered by the CD, as it will give me a better look behind the curtain. So that's my journey with Days of Future Past by the Moody Blues. Now I'd like to know what you think. Have you ever experienced anything similar with this album or with any other album? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you like what I do here, be sure to hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so you never miss a video. A big shout out and thank you to my patron supporters. Patron supporters do receive exclusive weekly videos not available on this channel. And if you can't be a patron supporter, I understand. You can show your support by just clicking and offering a one-time super thanks. You can do this with any video that I post here. And if you can't do that, I still understand. You can help this channel by just clicking like. Clicking like is free. It helps this channel get exposed to more viewers, and also it's encouragement for me to continue doing this. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.